My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today we are going to talk all things muscle. And we're going to talk about you don't have a fat problem, you actually have a muscle problem. Okay, so most women are not overweight. They are under-muscled. And this is a term that we are just not talking enough about, especially in the respect of perimenopause and women desiring to lose weight, or all of a sudden women who never had a weight loss problem, all of a sudden you see the fat right on your abdomen and you're like, what gives? Or you probably said a few more words, but we'll keep this PG for now. So we have been conditioned to chase just this skinny version of us versus this strong, vibrant, confident, and reasonably speaking, for most of us in our 20s and, I would say early 30s, we had the body, or for some of us, we never actually had the body, and what gives? So here you are doing all the things. You're doing cardio, you're fasting, maybe you're cutting carbs, while your body just whispers to you, can we please build some muscle so that we can function normally again? So today we're going to get really, really real about why being under-muscled, it absolutely wrecks your metabolism, hormones, confidence, and I want to share with you, hey, here's how we can fix it, because the most important thing about all of this is taking action and actually doing something about it. If you're constantly scrolling Instagram, TikTok, whatever your thing is, Facebook, and you're looking to it to be solve all of your problems, we got a problem. Now, here's the deal. People like myself, and there's a lot of other women and men putting out really, really good content, and while it's a great way to get content out fast, we're listening to everyone. And what you don't realize is there's a lot of people out there on the internet who actually don't know what they're talking about. I know, surprise. But the problem is you'll latch on to some headline, you'll see the clip, and you think, oh, that's my problem. And the problem is she's not sharing the full story, or she's not going into depth enough, because we're such mutants for quick dopamine hits, right? And you don't hear the full thing. And so I'm glad you're here on this podcast listening, because there's more to this. There's more to my hormones are wrecked. There's more to I can't lose weight. And a lot of it comes back to your muscle. Your muscle is what's actually going to help you balance out your hormones. And if you want to get your metabolism better, you have to get your muscles better. So why are most women under-muscled? Well, I'm just going to tell you that most women have absolutely no clue how to resistance train. You've been doing Pilates, you've been doing bar, you've done HIIT training, you've done Orange Theory, you've done all the body pump classes, all the fun classes at your local gym, right? And while you got a good hit, you felt good, you got a good dopamine hit, it's not actually putting muscle on your body. And if anything, if you're restricting food, you're actually losing muscle. Or if you've been a woman who has yo-yo dieted her whole life, maybe you've restricted your calories, you've done that, cute setting on MyFitnessPal that says 1,200 calories. Yeah, for like my 5'2", 5'1", 5'5" women, sure, but not for my taller ladies. That is not going to work. And so what happens is you have decades of diet culture, you have hardwired women that you just associate with less food, more cardio equals your success. And perimenopause hits. Your hormones shift. Your metabolism slows. And then all of a sudden, women start really doubling down on what's not working. Now, the only reason I can sling this is because this is what I was doing. Okay, here I am with an exercise science degree. At that point, gosh, I'd been in business, 14-ish years of business. And for the first time in my life, I put weight on my body. I was 38 years old. I was in the most stress I had ever probably been in, young kids, but I couldn't even blame it on that because I had gotten the weight off. But something shifted when I was working out 5-6 days a week, when I was running all the time, and everything shifted. This is when it really hit me. I was like, holy moly, this is what women my whole life that I've been training have been talking about. But until I experienced it myself, I will be genuine, I had no clue. And this is what sent me down a deeper path of understanding hormones. And this is why I want to share to women, now being 42, now being in the best shape I have ever been in, you can do something about it. But when perimenopause hits, everything does shift, but it doesn't mean you can just blame your hormones, blame your metabolism. Hell, you can't even blame your genetics, okay? And for the woman who came at me saying that I had skinny genetics, guess what? I actually don't have skinny genetics, and I have genetics to die for. There's actually a gene for obesity, and yeah, I got that too. So cool. So if you're trying to fix a 40-year-old body, 50-year-old body with what you used to do in your 20s, listen, that's why it's not working. And every decade that goes by, you're actually losing 3 to 8% of your muscle mass unless you are actively lifting. Now, we will talk more about what lifting actually looks like because for most women, they do not understand what lifting even should look like. So here's what we need to talk about, the science behind why your muscle is your hormone stabilizer. Muscle isn't just tone, okay? It's hormone therapy in disguise. Now, so muscle isn't just the tone. Now, great, it gives us the aesthetic look. Now, here's what I'm here to tell you is if you're not lean, you can still have muscle, okay? It's just underneath the layers of fat. So, okay, how does this all work? So I want to go into more of the hormones and the science behind what you need to know to increase your muscle and how is it actually going to affect you. So first and foremost, we have to talk about insulin sensitivity. Muscle acts like a sponge for glucose. So the more you have, the better your body handles sugar. So the more muscle you have, the better your body is going to utilize the sugar. Less insulin resistance equals less belly fat, better energy, fewer mood swings. And that's why women who strength train, guess what? You can eat the Halloween candy and your body's going to burn it, not store it. So when you build muscle, your metabolism, it's not going to freak out over a fun-sized Snickers, okay? And that's the beautiful thing about having lean tissue. You know, I think it's so funny when people see me eat a piece of candy or have, a piece of cake or whatever, and I'm like, dude, this is not going to affect me. This is not a big deal. Now, do I do it every day? Absolutely not. That's not part of my day. So let's now talk about estrogen. And so this is more about the estrogen regulation. So estrogen is not the enemy. It's the imbalance of your estrogen. So as we enter perimenopause, your estrogen and progesterone fluctuate like a damn roller coaster, okay? More muscle is going to equal better estrogen metabolism. So your muscle tissue becomes your body's process and eliminates the excess estrogen more efficiently. This is going to reduce bloating. It's going to impact mood swings. It's going to help with hot flashes and any of that fat storage around your hip and your thighs. So, okay, no, your hormones aren't out to ruin your life. Your muscle mass just hasn't been keeping up. Okay, so I cannot reiterate how much having muscle on your body is going to help you from bloating, mood swings, hot flashes, and where the fat is getting stored. Also, we have to talk about cortisol, your stress hormones, is lifting weights helps blunt the cortisol spikes by stabilizing blood sugar and improving stress resilience. When you're under-muscled, every little stressor sends your hormones into this panic mode. It's like your body is running, on 911 call every time you skip lunch, or every time you sleep 5 hours, your body's in high alert. Okay, so it's important for us to have the muscle and the muscle mass, because when you lift weights, you will help blunt the cortisol spikes by stabilizing your blood sugar. This makes you more resilient. So again, if you have a night that you don't sleep well, it's not going to impact you like it would impact you if you were just running chronic over and over and over again. And it's no wonder we have the brain fog, mood swings. We don't feel good. Okay. And when you feel that way, guess what? You don't feel like eating right. You don't feel like going for a walk. You don't feel like doing the things. Okay. Then we need to talk into thyroid with your metabolism. So muscle keeps your thyroid humming. Literally increases T3, which is your active thyroid hormone. Okay. The less muscle you have, the more sluggish your thyroid gets. It is possible to heal a thyroid naturally with lean tissue. Now, there are other things that we can do as well. You do not have to be on thyroid medicine the rest of your life, but I will tell you, you want to work with a competent physician that can help you navigate these numbers and know what the best course of action is for you. You shouldn't just go on a thyroid medicine for the rest of your life, especially if you're going down a health journey. The other things that we need to speak into is testosterone. Okay, we think men testosterone, but man, testosterone has been so life-giving for so many women. But here's the cool thing. Strength training naturally boosts it. Okay, for all my women on testosterone, and there's a lot of women, I know a lot of women on testosterone, what it does is it helps boost your mood. But here's really another cool thing is when you strength train, you're going to naturally increase your testosterone. So then all that does is help you build and keep your lean mass. It's going to help build your libido. It's going to help stabilize your mood. Okay. So that post-lift feel that you get, that's biochemistry, not arrogance. For myself, I record a lot of videos post a good pump in the gym, and you feel good. You're on fire. And I was just saying to my husband, like, on days that I lift, I feel on fire. My confidence is high. I know, the look that it's produced. And this has just been day in and day out taking care of myself. What's interesting is at the beginning of this year, we decided to start going to a commercial gym. We had built out our gym in our garage, and it was awesome. And I actually really loved working out there, but it got cold. And so we ended up going to a commercial gym, and it was great. But the interesting thing is we've been working out with seeing the same people day in and day out. Some bodies have changed, but majority of bodies have not changed. Now, here's the deal. They're in there, they're working out, and that's better than not. But it's about putting together all the right pieces. And so would I rather have someone go to the gym, lift the weights? Yes, but man, I see so many things that it's just unnecessary. You don't need to be doing those things. So let's dive into why cardio, fasting, low diet, like low calorie diets, those are just going to backfire because there's no shortage of women that will come to me and it's like, I do Pilates, I do, yoga, I do all these different things. Or they'll tell me, Arin, I fast, I do this, that. Oh, I restrict carbs, I carb cycle. I mean, God, there is no shortage of things y'all have told me you've done. But here's the deal. When you do chronic cardio, you have low calories, this is just going to drive your cortisol wild. Okay. The body reads this as you don't have enough food. And it's a danger zone. And the body is a resilient body. And what that actually does is it's going to slow down your metabolism because it just wants you to survive. So that's where you're fighting yourself. So there is such a thing as pulling up your calories to signal the body that, hey, we're not starving. But on the flip side, you still have to create the right caloric deficit. There's a lot of women out on the internet and men talking about reverse dieting. Most of them do it absolutely the wrong way. If you're throwing weight on your body, guess what? We're not eating the right composition, or it's just too many calories. And so here's the deal. I do not 100% buy into the whole reverse dieting. Now I understand the strategy when it's implemented correctly. So muscle loss is going to be the first thing that occurs when you are basically starving yourself. And here's the thing, you're not intentionally doing that. When you're doing all these activities, you're working out all the time, and then you've pulled down your calories hard enough, the body is actually going to muscle waste first. This is exactly what's happening to women on a GLP-1 is they go on this GLP-1, their appetite is absolutely suppressed, or they're absolutely nauseous, or you have super, super big food aversions. And guess what? Your body's going to figure out how to get fuel, and it's going to come from your muscles. This is no different than the women who would do really, really low caloric diets. You're doing the same darn thing. And so now let's think about it this way. You're a woman in your 40s, 50s. Guess what? You've probably already done a caloric restriction. That didn't work, right? Or maybe it did work, and then you put the weight back on. Okay, we're in a worse off metabolic state. Now you go ahead and do the GLP-1. Well, guess what? You did the same darn thing. You lost a bunch of weight and you're in a worse off metabolic state. You just look like a skinnier version, loose skin, all this stuff. And I hate this for you, but you've put yourself in a worse off metabolic state because of it. So restricted diets, GLP-1, losing massive amounts of weight super, super quick is going to produce an even worse off metabolic situation. And you're going to leave yourself in a worse off position if you don't do this correctly with the right strategy. Okay. So yeah, we're going to burn calories, but it's at the cost of your long-term metabolism. So you're trying to burn fat while burning away the tissue that actually burns the fat. So again, sometimes it takes a hot second for a woman to get this stuff stabilized in your body, or you may find yourself at different points of your journey. Let's say you have lost 15, 20 pounds. Well, maybe we need to pull your calories just a touch more, not increase any more of your activity to get that scale to move. And so this is when a competent coach can come in to tell you, hey girl, we need to tweak things again. You've seen some results, you've plateaued for a hot minute, but you got to be real with your coach. You got to be real with, hey, I've been sneaking some bites, licks, and tastes. We call it BLTs. And you got to be real with yourself. Oh man, I've snuck too many Halloween pieces of candy, or, those are the things that you need to be real with yourself before you go just drastically pulling your calories. So fasting, oh man, I have such a love-hate with fasting. So fasting can be helpful short term, but it gets overused all the time. So what it actually does is it stresses the system and it absolutely wrecks hormonal balance. And you can't out-fast or outrun poor muscle mass. So I personally do not recommend women in their 40s and their 50s to do fasting. Could we get away with it in our 30s, early 30s? For sure. We could definitely get away with it. But I will tell you, if it worked one time and then all of a sudden it didn't work again, this is because your body has changed. Your metabolism is slower. You don't have the proper lean tissue on your body. So there's times and spaces. There is such a thing as cellular regeneration. There is short-term fasting solutions that can have different effects on the body. But from a weight loss strategy, no. So I'm just going to throw it out there like that. So, okay. How do we fix all this? Because that's what I'm really more interested in is how do we fix this? How do we build muscle, build this balance for you? You have to lift heavy and heavy for you. Okay. For some women, you need to start with the 10s. Okay. But if you've been using the 10s for a hot minute, it is time to test out the 15s. If you've been using the 15s for a second and it's getting pretty easy, it's time to use the 20s and so on. Because you have to challenge your muscles because your muscles will adapt. That's the coolest thing about this is your body adapts. Your body is actually really, really cool. And so you have to put that stress on the body. It's just most women, they don't like the feeling. They don't like the feeling of putting that tension. It makes you nervous, you get scared, and sometimes you don't know the proper form. So I can absolutely appreciate that. But tone is like the word tone, to tone your body, it's actually not a real term, okay? Tone is what you're referencing from a look. And I understand what you're saying, but what you want to think about is having the muscle mass, but you have to have the lower body fat percentage to actually see the tone. And like for myself personally, I've floated pretty much my whole life between the 20 and 24% body fat. There was a hot minute when I kind of just let myself go. Nothing was working, super stressed. And yeah, I even punched myself up to touching 30% body fat. You know, here today, I've been hanging out between 14 and 15% body fat. And I was going to kind of just hang out here, but I was like, you know what? I wonder what I could do. And so I just want to see what I can do. Now, 12% on a woman, that you're pushing it and you can actually put yourself in more stress. But I feel pretty good, but the thing is you're not going to see the tone on my body unless I dropped the body fat. So there's a fine way to do this when we're dropping body fat. We want to maintain and keep our lean tissue. Then we can go into a more mass building phase. That's what I've been personally been doing is putting on more muscle because I wanted to see what is that look going to look like. And that's kind of the cool thing about the body is you can adapt it. It's just understanding proper programming and knowing what to manipulate in order to see the desired look, not only from a workout standpoint, but also from a nutrition standpoint. Okay, so this isn't watching some Instagram videos. This isn't somebody's YouTube. And here's the thing I just want to call this out. I'm going to go ahead and just throw this out there is all these women that you're doing their videos, I promise you they are not doing those workouts to look the way they do. Okay, I'm just going to call it out. The women that are doing those workouts that you're like, oh my gosh, she does buns and thighs, and then she does bis and tris, and then she does whatever. That is not what she's doing to have the look that she has. You do not put mass, lean tissue on doing those workouts. Okay, I want to put that out there. Okay, I feel better now. So you have to lift heavy, but relative to you. Lifting builds your shape. It is not going to bulk you up. Then you have to support this with eating enough protein. You will want to get minimum 1 pound or 1 gram per pound of body weight. And typically we say pound of ideal body weight. Okay, that is a starting point. And so for all of my women thinking getting 100 grams of protein, eating 30 grams of protein per meal is hard, guess what? You can actually consume more, okay? But we have to start somewhere and then we have to continue to build from there. So protein will absolutely be your building block to building your lean tissue, your muscle mass as we go through this journey. And you want to think minimum 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight, but that is just a starting point. What protein actually does is it helps repair, it helps you recover, it helps hormone support. And so anytime you skip protein, it's really like you're skipping your foundation when you're building a house. And so you can't build a house if you don't build a foundation. The other thing is we have to stop under eating if we're going to build muscle mass. And I'm talking meaning we're putting on size now. We've now dropped our body fat and we want to put on more size. Okay, so you can't under eat. That is never going to help put any kind of muscle mass on. And so your body needs that energy. And this can be such a challenging space for women. We can get them to lose the weight, but then all of a sudden when she wants to put muscle mass on, you actually have to eat more. And this is a totally different mindset. Even myself, I've had to really work through, okay, you got to eat a little bit more, but it's not that much more. Like let's be real. Okay. Then you also have to sleep. This is one of the most underutilized hormone hack is sleeping. Okay. If you are not getting 7 hours, that is not a luxury. This is your hormone rehab. So I will never like, oh, Arin, I run on E all the time. Arin, I don't need sleep. I work, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. All you're doing is disrupting your hormones. So if you want to continue to get the next email, and you're frazzled and you can't get the weight off your body, I am not impressed. Okay. And I would also question, do you even care about your body? Okay. And that's not being mean, but it's the women who are like, my career, my kids, my this, my that. Well, guess what? If you can't take care of yourself, if you're running on empty, you are not giving to that career or those kids in a proper manner. And it does not impress me. Okay. And listen, this is coming from the woman who used to say this herself. And that's the only reason why I can say this. So the consistency is going to be the key, okay? Your best workouts, here's the deal. Every workout's not going to feel freaking amazing, but it's a done workout, okay? Your consistency is going to be what actually sees results when it comes to putting on muscle and balancing out your hormones, okay? So the discipline builds your results. I cannot reiterate it. If you do one workout 1 week, 2 workouts the next, no workouts the next, oh, I promise I'll get them done. All you're doing is just wasting your time. So commit to the process. I am like clockwork. It is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I get those workouts done. And if I can't get them in on one of those days, I'm shifting it to another day. And by God, that is going to happen because I love the result. And that's what I wish I could tell more women, that when you put the time in, when you lift weights appropriately, and listen, I'm not spending hours in the gym. Like most of the time, it's like a good 40, 50 minutes in the gym. And that's just because there was a bunch of knuckleheads and I had to wait for something, right? So listen, the real shift is we've got to chase stronger. We need to chase muscle. And muscle is never going to make you masculine. It's going to make you metabolically bulletproof. You are not broken. Your hormones aren't broken. You're not stressed out. I mean, maybe you are, but that's even relative as well. But you haven't been putting the right work into the gym. And that's one of the hardest things for me to say to women, because I feel for you, because you've been training wrong. For so many women, they come to me, Arin, I work out, Arin, and then the second I present my workouts, oh, I do all these things. Well, then you actually do them and do them and do them. And then you're like, oh, okay, this is a little bit different than what I was doing. And so then I'm going to coach you up and I'm going to say, hey, girl, we need to test a little more weight. We need to test a little more weight. It needs to be challenging. So this is an important thing. If you've been lifting the same weights, if you've been doing the same workout without changing reps, sets, you have to put together a proper program and understand progressive resistance training and what it takes to actually put on muscle mass and when that's even appropriate. Okay. So we have to evolve. We have to evolve from our bar classes, our Pilates classes, and we need to put the effort into the gym that's going to yield the result. I cannot wait till more women understand what it actually looks like to lift because we're all going to be walking around pretty jacked, like in a good way, feminine, like jacked, if that can go together. So here's the deal. We don't need to quote unquote fix your hormones. We need to support them. If that means going on some HRT, great, but you have to understand what you're not doing from a lifestyle standpoint. And before I'd ever go chasing any HRT, I would be doing everything in my power to balance things naturally. For myself personally, I went down this journey and it was challenging. It was pretty tough and I felt pretty wrecked for a hot minute and it was a struggle bus. And even if I were to tell you like right now, I still feel the effects of like, hey, things are shifting. Okay, this cycle was this many days. This cycle was that many days. Like, what the hell? I'm still getting zits. Like, what's going on? But I'm here to tell you, if you are still going out to fast food, if you're going and grabbing garbage food, if you're justifying doing this crazy like activity and then, I'm going to do all this, with my food, or if you're not sleeping, if you're stressed out all the time, if you're always the victim, and I say this with love, you've got to address the internal things going on, okay? You've got to go deeper. It's not the hormones' fault. It's how you've been living for a very, very, very long time. Because this is what I see with women in our 30s is we are stressed, okay? But we can handle it. But then all of a sudden we get into our 40s and even into our 50s and we're like, holy crap, this just keeps compounding. And where maybe we had little kids, now our kids are older, now we have aging parents, and it's just like, holy moly. Or maybe now you have grandkids. Like, it's this never ending cycle of continuous things. But when you actively take care of yourself, when you take full ownership that, hey, you know what, maybe I haven't been eating very well. If you're constantly going out to brunch and justifying the big old plate, if you're constantly going to the Mexican restaurant and getting that full on plate that is so delicious, but it's 1,500 calories on that plate, right? So the more muscle you build, the more freedom you're going to create in your body, in your metabolism, and in your life. So when this is hitting home and you're looking for the right strategy, all you got to do is send me a DM and let me know, hey, I listened to your podcast, Arin. You absolutely spoke to me. I need help. This is what I do. I offer a coaching program that out of my own experience, now listen, I have an exercise science degree. I've been doing this for 18 years, but it was out of my own experience that I created my coaching program. We go through 3 phases. First step is we got to balance out your foundation. We need to solve hormones naturally. Balance things out by resetting your foundation. Step 2 will get you ready for body recomposition, or rapid fat loss is what we call it. Then we get you into step 3. Step 3 is going to be where we get you into health optimization or maintenance. And along this journey, yes, it's nutrition. Yes, it's workouts. Yes, it's accountability, support, but it's also helping you change into this new version of you. And so we dig deeper into the mental programming, because that's what I know most women are struggling with. You've had a lot of life, you've had a lot of stress, and you need help, you need support, and you need someone to speak truth to you. I always tell my clients, like, I'll be friendly, but I'm not going to be your friend. Not right now. When you're done and you feel all good and we're done coaching. But here's the deal. I will be friendly, but I'm not your friend. I'm your coach. And I'm going to have to tell you things that can get uncomfortable. But if I didn't have coaches in my life that spoke to me that way, I never would be where I'm at here today and where I'm absolutely going. So when this hits home, DM me, let me know you listened to the podcast, and let's never turn back.